It was a cold and rainy evening when the single dad closed the small shop he ran at the corner of a busy street. The clouds hung heavy in the sky, and the wind whispered through the narrow alleyways, carrying with it the faint smell of wet asphalt and old wood. The man was tired, his shoulders sore from a day spent lifting boxes and arranging shelves. His small apartment was a few blocks away, a modest place that barely had enough space for him and his young son, but it was all they could afford. He walked slowly, clutching his umbrella and thinking about the simple dinner he had waiting for him. His son would already be home, probably sitting on the floor with a small stack of books or quietly playing with his few toys. He imagined the warmth of the tiny kitchen, the smell of rice and vegetables cooking in the old pan, and the comforting chatter that made their little home feel alive despite its limitations. As he reached the worn steps of the apartment building, he heard a faint tapping. At first he thought it was just the rain hitting the railing, but then he noticed a small figure shivering under the dim light of the doorway. He squinted through the rain and saw two little girls, identical in appearance, standing side by side. Their hair was wet and plastered to their faces, and their clothes were soaked through. They looked no older than 10 or 11, and their eyes were wide and nervous, scanning the area as if they were unsure whether to stay or run. He hesitated for a moment. He was not used to strangers showing up at his door, especially children, and a small voice inside warned him to be careful. But another stronger voice, one that had guided him through life's hardships, urged him to help. He had spent years learning to care for his son alone, and he knew the fear of being alone in a world that could be unkind. He opened the umbrella and stepped closer. "Hey," he said gently, "what are you doing out here in this rain?" The girls looked up at him, their expressions a mix of fear and hope. One of them, the one on the left, spoke first. Her voice was soft, almost trembling. We need a place to stay for the night, please, just for one night." He frowned slightly, unsure if he had heard correctly. "One night? Where are your parents?" The other girl, slightly more confident, stepped forward and shook her head. We can't go home. Please, we don't have anywhere else." He glanced at them, noting the seriousness in their eyes. He could see that they were not lying for fun or attention. They were scared and they needed help. His heart ached as he thought of his own son and the thought of him being alone and frightened. He knew he could not turn them away. "All right," he said finally, lowering the umbrella. "Come in, quickly. You'll catch a cold out here." The girls followed him inside, dripping water onto the worn wooden floor.
He handed them towels and told them to sit near the small heater.
They dried themselves quietly, still shivering but slowly starting to relax. The apartment was small, the living room barely large enough for the worn-out sofa and a tiny table, but it had a feeling of warmth that money could not buy. The little boy ran in from his bedroom when he saw the girls, his eyes lighting up with curiosity. "Who are they?" he asked, his voice filled with innocent wonder. "These girls need a place to stay for one night," the dad explained softly. "Be nice, okay?" The boy nodded eagerly, already feeling protective of his new guests. The girls smiled faintly, and for the first time the tension in the room eased. He guided them to the small kitchen, where he began preparing a simple dinner. The smell of rice, vegetables, and a few spices filled the air, making the apartment feel alive and comforting. The girls watched him with fascination, their eyes wide as they took in every small detail. They had obviously never been in a place like this before, simple and modest, but full of care and warmth. As they ate, they spoke little, only answering his questions when necessary. Their manners were impeccable, polite and quiet, almost like they had been taught to be careful around adults. The dad noticed this, feeling a strange mix of curiosity and admiration. There was something unusual about them, a grace and composure that did not match the way they were dressed or the situation they were in. After dinner, he showed them the small bedroom where they could sleep. It was tiny, with a single bed and a few blankets, but it was dry and safe. They thanked him quietly, their voices soft but sincere. He watched them settle in, pulling the blankets around themselves, and felt a strange warmth in his chest. He had not expected to feel such a connection so quickly, but there was something about these girls that touched him deeply. The night passed slowly. Rain tapped against the windows, and the wind whispered through the cracks in the walls. He stayed awake for a while, listening to the soft breathing of his son and the quiet murmurs of the girls as they talked softly to each other. He could not hear what they were saying, but the sound was comforting in its own way. It reminded him of the importance of family, of care, and of the simple acts of kindness that could change someone's life, even for just one night. At some point, one of the girls got up, her small feet silent on the floor. She came to the living room where he was sitting, lost in thought. "Thank you," she whispered, "for letting us stay." He looked at her and nodded, feeling a lump in his throat. "You don't need to thank me. Everyone deserves a safe place, even if it's just for one night." She smiled faintly and returned to her bed. He realized then that these girls had been through something difficult, something that made them wary of the world, but they still held on to hope. That hope was fragile, like a candle flickering in the wind, but it was there. As he finally lay down on the small couch in the living room, he thought about the day's events. It had started like any other, filled with the routine struggles of a man trying to make ends meet, but it had ended with an unexpected encounter that had shaken his heart. The girls were mysterious, their story incomplete, but their presence had brought warmth, laughter, and a sense of family to his small apartment. In the middle of the night, he woke to the sound of one of the girls coughing softly. He got up immediately and went to her side, bringing her a glass of water and checking if she was all right. The other girl stirred, worried, and he reassured them both. "It's okay. You're safe here." The girl's eyes met his, filled with gratitude and a hint of wonder. In that moment he felt a bond forming, one that was unspoken but strong. It was a reminder that kindness mattered, that even in the smallest gestures one could change the course of someone's life. Morning came slowly, light filtering through the thin curtains. The rain had stopped, leaving behind a fresh, clean scent in the air. The dad got up and started breakfast, the girls helping quietly, their small hands busy with simple tasks. The apartment was filled with a calm, gentle energy, a feeling of togetherness that was rare in their modest lives. He watched them closely, noting how quickly they adapted, how politely they moved, and how their eyes sparkled with curiosity about everything around them. As breakfast ended, the girls prepared to leave. They had not revealed much about themselves, only that they had to go, but they left a small note of thanks for him. He read it quietly, feeling a strange ache in his heart. He had grown attached to these mysterious twins in such a short time, and the thought of never seeing them again made him sad. He walked them to the door, opening it to the bright morning light. "Take care of yourselves," he said softly. "Remember, you're always welcome here if you need a place to stay." The girls nodded, their expression serious but kind. "Thank you for everything," one of them whispered. They turned and disappeared down the street, leaving him standing in the doorway, feeling a mixture of relief, sadness, and wonder. Who were they? Why had they come to him? And what did their future hold? He closed the door slowly, leaning against it for a moment. The apartment felt quiet and empty again, but it also felt fuller in some strange way. The brief night with the twins had reminded him of the power of kindness, the importance of compassion, and the ways in which life could surprise you when you least expected it. As he sat down with his son, who was eager to hear about the girls, he realized that their small family had grown, even if just for a night. The story of these mysterious twins would stay with him, a memory of warmth, trust, and unexpected connections. It was a reminder that even in the midst of struggle, life had moments of magic, moments that could touch the heart and change the way one saw the world. The rain had stopped, but its memory lingered in the air, a quiet echo of the night that had passed. And in that modest apartment, a poor single dad and his young son carried on with their lives, forever touched by the presence of two mysterious girls who had walked into their world, if only for a single night. The morning after the twins had stayed, the apartment felt quieter than usual. The dad moved about with a sense of lingering curiosity and warmth. The small gestures of the previous night, their quiet laughter, the way they had huddled under blankets, their polite thank yous, still lingered in his mind. He made breakfast for his son, who was unusually thoughtful that morning, staring out the window as if searching for something just beyond the street. They talked quietly about small things, the boys' school day ahead, the errands the dad had to run, and the way the sunlight caught the damp streets outside, making the puddles sparkle like tiny mirrors. The twins had left a small token behind, a scarf one of them had dropped while drying off. It was a simple thing, but it carried with it a weight of emotion. He held it in his hands, feeling the softness against his rough palms, and wondered who these girls really were. There was a sense of mystery surrounding them that he couldn't shake. Even the way they spoke, carefully measured yet full of quiet strength, suggested that they had lived lives very different from his own. He tried not to think too much about it, focusing instead on the responsibilities of the day. But every time he glanced at the scarf, a pang of longing for their presence returned. He went about his daily routine, but the memory of the previous night followed him like a shadow. Customers in the small shop he ran noticed him being quieter than usual, nodding politely as he sorted items and took payments. He smiled when necessary, but his mind kept wandering back to the twins. He wondered what they were doing now, if they were safe, if they had found a dry place to rest. Despite knowing nothing about them, he felt a protective instinct that surprised him. It was a feeling he hadn't realized he still carried, a deep-rooted urge to care for someone who was vulnerable. After work, he returned home to find the apartment as he had left it. His son greeted him eagerly, asking if he had seen the twins again. He shook his head and smiled, ruffling his son's hair. "No, not today," he said softly. "But maybe they will come by again someday." The boy's face lit up with hope, and he nodded, content to imagine the possibility. Later that evening, the twins arrived at the doorstep again, much to the surprise of the dad and his son. This time there was a sense of urgency in their steps, but also relief in their expressions. They were drenched again, though less so than the first time, and they carried small bags that hinted at a longer journey. The dad quickly ushered them inside, offering towels and a warm place near the heater. The son, now more confident, greeted them warmly, already feeling like he had known them for a longer time. The twins settled in quickly, helping themselves to dry clothes and quietly organizing their small bags. They seemed more relaxed this time, as if the first night had reassured them that this apartment was a safe place. The dad watched them with a mixture of curiosity and tenderness. He had never met children quite like them, so polite yet self-sufficient, so mysterious yet open to trust. Dinner that night was a simple affair, but the atmosphere was different from the first night. The girls spoke more, asking questions about the dad's work and his son's school. They laughed softly at small jokes, and their eyes sparkled with genuine interest. The dad found himself relaxing in a way he hadn't in years, enjoying the rare sense of family and togetherness. Even his son was more animated, telling stories and showing off small drawings he had made. The twins complimented him gently, and he saw a shy pride in his son's eyes that warmed his heart. After dinner, the dad noticed one of the twins examining a small stack of books on the shelf. She picked one up carefully, flipping through the pages with a curiosity that reminded him of his own son. He asked her if she liked to read, and she nodded eagerly, explaining that she loved stories because they made her feel like she could go anywhere, even when she had nowhere to go. Her words struck a chord with him. He realized that despite their mysterious background, these girls were much like any other children, seeking comfort, adventure, and connection. As the evening deepened, he offered to show them the small park nearby, a place where his son often played. The rain had stopped, leaving the ground damp, but the air fresh and cool. The three children ran and played quietly, their laughter ringing out in the empty streets. The dad watched from a bench, feeling a profound sense of peace. For a brief moment, the struggles of his daily life seemed distant, replaced by the simple joy of watching children be children. It was a reminder that happiness did not always come from money or comfort, but from moments of genuine connection and care. When they returned home, the girls helped tidy up the small apartment, their movements precise and thoughtful. They prepared for bed with quiet efficiency, brushing their teeth and arranging their blankets. The dad admired their independence and resourcefulness, yet he could see the subtle traces of vulnerability that reminded him they were still just children. He felt an urge to protect them, to ensure that they were safe, if only for the night. That night, as the three children slept, the dad stayed awake a little longer, reflecting on the day's events. The girls' presence had brought a strange, new energy to his home. Their laughter, curiosity, and quiet conversations had filled the apartment with life. He realized that even though he did not know their story, he felt a connection that was rare and profound. He thought about the challenges he had faced as a single parent, the loneliness, the endless work, and the constant worry about providing for his son. Yet in the presence of these girls, he felt a sense of fulfillment and purpose that transcended his material struggles. In the middle of the night, one of the girls woke up, quietly moving to the small heater to warm herself. The dad noticed her, and he went to check if she was cold or scared. She smiled faintly, appreciating his concern, and explained that she was just adjusting her blanket. He nodded, feeling a quiet pride in being trusted, even in these small, simple ways. The other girl stirred, sensing the interaction, and soon, they both lay down again, comforted by the presence of someone who cared. The next morning, the twins were lively and full of energy, their curiosity renewed after a good night's rest. They helped prepare breakfast, working quietly alongside the dad and his son. The atmosphere was filled with a sense of calm and normalcy, yet tinged with the awareness that their time together was temporary. The dad noticed how quickly they had adapted to his modest home, how they respected the small space while still making it feel alive. He marveled at their resilience and their ability to find joy in simple things. After breakfast, the dad decided to take a walk with the twins and his son through the nearby streets. The sun had emerged, casting a warm glow on the buildings and the wet streets. People passed by, some smiling at the sight of the children, others busy with their own lives. The twins observed everything with wide eyes, noticing small details, pointing out patterns in the architecture, and asking thoughtful questions. Their curiosity was infectious, and the dad found himself looking at the world with fresh eyes, noticing things he had long overlooked. During their walk, the twins shared small stories about places they had visited and experiences they had had, though always carefully omitting details about their family or background. The dad listened attentively, occasionally asking questions but respecting their boundaries. He sensed that they were cautious, not because they were unfriendly, but because they had learned to protect themselves in a world that was not always kind. He admired their strength, and yet he wished he could shield them from any harm. When they returned home, the dad prepared a small activity for the children, drawing and storytelling. He laid out paper, pencils, and crayons, inviting them to create anything they wanted. The twins eagerly participated, their hands moving quickly, their faces focused. The son shared his drawings as well, and the dad found himself marveling at the creativity and imagination that filled the room. They laughed together at funny sketches, praised each other's work, and shared stories inspired by their drawings. The apartment felt alive with energy, a stark contrast to the quiet loneliness it had held before the twins arrived. As the evening approached, the dad cooked dinner, with the twins helping him in small ways, washing vegetables, stirring pots, and setting the table. Their presence had turned even the simplest tasks into shared moments of joy. Conversation flowed naturally, laughter punctuated the air, and the sense of family grew stronger. The dad realized that in just 2 nights, these girls had become an integral part of his small world, bringing warmth, joy, and perspective. After dinner, the dad sat down with the twins and his son in the living room. They talked about dreams and hopes, things they wanted to see and do in the future. The twins spoke with a quiet determination, their eyes reflecting intelligence and resilience. They did not boast or complain. They simply shared their desires and aspirations. The dad listened, offering encouragement and gentle advice. He realized that their presence had not only enriched his life, but had also inspired his son to dream bigger and think beyond the confines of their modest surroundings. As night fell, the twins prepared for bed once again. The dad checked on them, ensuring they were comfortable and safe. They thanked him softly, their voices filled with sincerity. He smiled, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction and connection. He had opened his home to strangers, and in doing so had found unexpected companionship, warmth, and joy. Before sleeping himself, the dad reflected on the past 2 days. The twins had entered his life like a sudden breeze, gentle yet powerful, leaving a lasting impact. Their presence had reminded him of the importance of kindness, the beauty of trust, and the value of simple moments shared with others. He realized that even in a world filled with struggles and hardships, there were chances for connection, growth, and happiness. As he drifted off to sleep, He felt a quiet hope that the girls would find safety and happiness wherever their journey took them. He knew that their time together was limited, but the bond formed in these brief hours would remain in his heart forever, a testament to the power of human connection and the unexpected ways in which life could surprise and enrich those willing to open their hearts. The morning after their second stay, the apartment had a quiet warmth, a feeling that lingered from the laughter and conversations of the night before. The dad woke early as usual and began preparing breakfast while his son sat at the small kitchen table, still rubbing sleep from his eyes. The twins, meanwhile, were awake and moving quietly in the bedroom, their soft giggles barely reaching the kitchen. They were beginning to feel more at home, even though their stay was supposed to be temporary. The dad noticed this and felt a mixture of happiness and concern. He wanted to provide them comfort, yet he was aware that soon they might leave again. Breakfast was a shared affair, with simple food and gentle conversation. The dad asked them questions about school and their favorite books. The twins answered politely but thoughtfully, revealing glimpses of their intelligence and curiosity. They spoke about their favorite stories, describing characters and adventures with vivid detail. The dad listened intently, occasionally smiling or nodding, realizing that these small exchanges were more meaningful than he could have imagined. His son joined in, asking questions and laughing at funny anecdotes. The apartment was alive with energy, and for a brief moment it felt like a complete family. After breakfast, the dad suggested a small project to keep everyone busy. He had noticed that the twins were fascinated by the little garden on the balcony, a patch of soil where he grew a few vegetables and flowers. He asked them if they wanted to help water the plants and plant a few seeds. Their faces lit up with excitement, and they quickly moved to the balcony, hands eager to dig and water. The dad watched as they carefully handled each seed, showing patience and care. His son joined, laughing as he accidentally spilled water on himself, and the twins giggled, gently teasing him. It was a simple activity, but it created a bond through shared effort and small joys. As the morning passed, the twins began to show their resourcefulness and thoughtfulness. They organized small spaces, tidied up toys and books, and even helped the dad with minor chores. They were polite and independent, yet there was a vulnerability in their eyes that reminded the dad they were still children who needed protection. He felt a growing sense of responsibility, a desire to shield them from any harm and provide the comfort and stability they lacked elsewhere. This feeling was new to him, extending beyond the care he already had for his son. Around midday, the twins suggested a small walk to the nearby park. The dad agreed, knowing that fresh air and exercise would do everyone good. They walked through the streets, noticing details and discussing the world around them. The twins were observant, asking questions about buildings, people, and the little things often overlooked by adults. Their curiosity was infectious, and the dad found himself seeing the world through their eyes, noticing colors, shapes, and movements he had long ignored. His son ran ahead, laughing and pointing at birds, while the twins followed at a steady pace, discussing quietly with each other and occasionally sharing insights with the dad. At the park, the twins joined other children in small games, their laughter ringing through the air. The dad and his son watched from a nearby bench, feeling a sense of calm and contentment. He noticed that the twins had an ease and grace that was unusual. Even when interacting with strangers, they were polite, confident, and careful. Yet there was still a hint of caution, a subtle reminder that their lives were not ordinary. The dad wondered what circumstances had brought them here, and he felt an urge to know more, though he knew he could not force them to reveal their story. After returning from the park, the dad prepared a small lunch with the twins helping in small ways. They chopped vegetables, stirred pots, and arranged the table. Conversation flowed naturally, filled with laughter and gentle teasing. The twins shared small observations about the city, comparing it to places they had seen in books or on television. The dad listened, impressed by their intelligence and perspective, while his son eagerly joined in, asking questions and showing off his own knowledge. The atmosphere was warm and inviting, a rare moment of normalcy and joy. In the afternoon, the dad suggested a quiet storytelling session. They gathered in the living room, the twins and his son sitting close together while he read aloud from a small collection of short stories. The twins listened intently, occasionally asking questions or sharing thoughts about the characters. The dad noticed how engaged they were, how their eyes lit up with each twist and turn of the story. It was a reminder that children's minds were full of wonder, and that the smallest gestures, reading a story, asking a question, sharing a laugh, could create lasting memories. As the day progressed, the twins began to show small signs of their mysterious background. One of them, while tidying up, revealed a skill in organizing and problem-solving that seemed beyond their age. They spoke politely but with a confidence that hinted at a life filled with guidance and expectations. The dad noticed these traits but chose not to comment, focusing instead on their well-being and the warmth of the shared moments. There was a subtle contrast between their sophistication and their innocence, a reminder that children often carried complexities beyond what was visible on the surface. Evening approached, and the dad prepared a modest dinner. The twins helped set the table, moving with precision and care. Conversation flowed easily, with stories, jokes, and small reflections on the day. The dad felt a sense of fulfillment he had not experienced in a long time. The twins had brought a new dimension to his life, reminding him of the importance of compassion, patience, and presence. His son, now fully engaged in the family dynamic, showed pride and happiness, enjoying the company and the warmth of shared experiences. After dinner, the dad suggested a small game, drawing and storytelling. The twins eagerly participated, creating images and stories that reflected their creativity and imagination. His son joined, and together they shared their creations, laughing and discussing ideas. The activity fostered connection, collaboration, and a sense of belonging. The dad marveled at how these small moments of engagement and joy could create such profound bonds. The twins, though brief visitors, had left an indelible mark on his household. As night fell, the dad noticed a quiet moment of reflection among the twins. They sat by the window, looking out at the city lights, their expressions thoughtful. He approached gently, asking if they were all right. One of the twins smiled faintly, expressing gratitude for the care and kindness they had received. There was an unspoken understanding in the room, a recognition that trust had been built even in a short span of time. The dad felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility, knowing that his actions, though small, had made a significant impact on these children's lives. Later, as he prepared the twins for bed, he noticed subtle differences in their behavior. They were more relaxed, more trusting, yet still cautious, a balance shaped by experiences he could only imagine. He listened to their quiet conversations, feeling a mixture of admiration and empathy. They spoke in hushed tones, sharing dreams, hopes, and small fears. The dad realized that these conversations, though seemingly ordinary, were profound moments of connection, revealing the depth of human emotion and the resilience of children. That night, he stayed awake longer than usual, reflecting on the events of the day. The twins had shown resilience, intelligence, and kindness. They had enriched his life and the life of his son, reminding them all of the importance of empathy, patience, and understanding. He thought about their mysterious background, the hints of wealth and sophistication, and the stark contrast to his own modest life. Yet he found no jealousy or resentment, only a deep appreciation for the experiences and lessons they had shared. The next morning, the twins were lively and cheerful, ready to embrace another day. They helped prepare breakfast, their movements efficient and graceful. The dad noticed the small details, the way they arranged the table, the care they took with the food, and the quiet attentiveness they showed toward his son. It was clear that their presence had created a subtle shift in the household, a blend of energy, thoughtfulness, and emotional warmth. After breakfast, the dad suggested a walk to a nearby market. The twins were eager to explore, asking questions and observing everything with keen interest. They noted colors, textures, and the sounds of the bustling market, discussing what they saw with insightful curiosity. The dad was impressed, realizing that these small observations revealed a depth of perception beyond their years. His son followed, excitedly pointing out familiar stalls and items, and together they navigated the lively streets, sharing experiences and laughter. At the market, the twins displayed a combination of politeness and confidence. They interacted with vendors respectfully, asking questions and responding thoughtfully. The dad observed with quiet admiration, noticing their ability to adapt to new situations while maintaining a sense of self-awareness and humility. It was a delicate balance, one that spoke of careful upbringing and inherent intelligence. Yet, despite their sophistication, the twins were still children, enjoying small delights like fruit samples, colorful toys, and the simple pleasure of walking through the busy streets. Returning home, the dad suggested a quiet afternoon of rest and reading. The twins eagerly agreed, gathering books and settling in the living room. He read aloud, pausing occasionally to discuss the story and its meaning. The twins listened attentively, occasionally offering observations and interpretations that were thoughtful and insightful. His son participated as well, asking questions and contributing ideas. The apartment was filled with a gentle warmth, a blend of quiet focus, shared learning, and emotional connection. As the afternoon faded into evening, the dad noticed the twins growing reflective. They spoke quietly about dreams, hopes, and small fears, revealing glimpses of their inner world. He listened patiently, offering guidance and reassurance. It was clear that they trusted him, and that his home had become a safe space, even if only temporarily. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that his actions, though ordinary, had provided comfort and security. Dinner that evening was simple, yet filled with laughter and conversation. The twins shared small stories about places they wanted to visit, books they had read, and things they hoped to learn. His son joined enthusiastically, sharing his own ideas and observations. The dad observed the interactions, feeling a sense of pride and warmth. These moments of shared experience, though brief, were shaping memories and bonds that would last far beyond the twins' stay. As night fell, the dad prepared the twins for bed once more. He noticed subtle changes in their demeanor, greater ease, trust, and comfort balanced by a natural caution. They thanked him quietly, their voices filled with sincerity. He smiled, feeling a profound sense of connection and responsibility. The twins had become an integral part of his household, even if only temporarily, and their presence had enriched his life and the life of his son in ways that words could not fully capture. Before sleeping himself, the dad reflected on the past few days. The twins had brought energy, curiosity, intelligence, and warmth into his modest apartment. They had reminded him of the power of kindness, the importance of empathy, and the beauty of shared human experience. He thought about their mysterious background, the hints of wealth and sophistication, and the stark contrast to his own life. Yet he felt only gratitude and admiration, recognizing that the bonds formed through trust, care, and compassion were far more valuable than any material wealth. As he drifted off to sleep, he felt a quiet hope that the twins would find safety, happiness, and the support they needed in the world. He knew their time together was temporary, but the experiences, laughter, and shared moments had left a lasting impact. He felt a renewed sense of purpose, inspired by the children's resilience and the joy they had brought. The apartment, once quiet and modest, now held a warmth and vitality that would remain in his heart forever, a testament to the unexpected ways in which human connection could transform lives. The morning of the fourth day began quietly in the small apartment. The dad had become used to the twins' presence. They moved with ease, their routines blending with his own and his son's. Breakfast was calm, filled with small talk about the day ahead. The twins had begun to feel comfortable enough to share minor details about themselves, but anything significant about their family remained unspoken. The dad sensed there was more to their story, yet he respected their privacy, focusing instead on providing a safe and supportive environment. After breakfast, the dad decided to take the children to a nearby library. The twins' eyes lit up at the mention of books, and his son eagerly followed along. Walking through the quiet streets, the air felt crisp and fresh, carrying the faint smell of rain from the previous evening. At the library, the children wandered through the aisles, examining books and quietly discussing stories with one another. The dad observed them, marveling at how naturally they adapted to new environments. The twins' behavior showed a level of sophistication that intrigued him. Yet they still displayed the innocence of children genuinely enjoying a simple outing. The dad found a small reading corner and suggested they sit and read together. The twins eagerly chose a few books and settled in, sharing pages and commenting quietly to one another. Their son listened intently as the dad read aloud, occasionally chiming in with his own interpretations. The atmosphere was calm and thoughtful, filled with a sense of learning and exploration. As he watched them, the dad reflected on how unusual it was for children to balance curiosity, intelligence, and manners in such a natural way. He wondered what experiences had shaped them, what had taught them to navigate the world with such grace. After several hours at the library, they returned home, and the dad prepared a simple lunch. During the meal, one of the twins left behind a small item, a delicate notebook with a well-crafted cover, something that seemed out of place in their otherwise modest lives. The dad noticed it and carefully picked it up, opening it to find neatly written notes and sketches, some in a language or style that suggested education beyond their apparent age. A small unease mixed with curiosity filled him. This was the first clear hint that the twins' lives were far more complex and possibly more privileged than he had imagined. He chose not to comment immediately, simply setting it aside as they finished eating. The afternoon brought unexpected news. A polite man arrived at the apartment, introducing himself in a calm but confident manner. He explained that he was looking for the twins and had been informed of their temporary stay. The dad felt a surge of surprise and concern. The twins' mysterious background was beginning to reveal itself. The man explained that he was their father and that he was financially well off, a millionaire who had been seeking the twins for some time. The twins remained calm, though there was a subtle glimmer of emotion in their eyes. Relief, perhaps, or a sense of returning to a familiar presence. The dad listened carefully, his heart racing. He had grown attached to the twins, had formed a bond with them, and the thought of them leaving was difficult to bear. The twins assured him softly that they were grateful for his kindness and care, and that they had felt safe and happy in his home. The dad felt a mixture of relief and sadness, understanding that the girls' safety was now assured but that their time together might end. The son looked on with wide eyes, sensing the emotional weight of the moment. The father, noticing the connection that had formed, spoke kindly to the dad. He acknowledged the importance of the care and support the dad had provided, expressing gratitude and respect. There was no condescension, no pressure, only recognition that the twins had experienced warmth and stability in a way that mattered deeply. The dad listened, feeling a quiet pride and satisfaction, knowing that his actions had made a meaningful difference. After the brief visit, the twins needed to settle some arrangements. The dad assisted them in organizing their belongings and preparing for the transition, offering guidance and encouragement. The twins showed a mixture of excitement and trepidation, adjusting to the idea that their lives were about to change significantly. They thanked the dad multiple times, their sincerity touching him deeply. Even though they were returning to a life of wealth and privilege, they recognized the value of the care and compassion they had received in his modest apartment. Throughout the day, small moments of reflection and connection occurred. The dad and his son spent quiet moments together, discussing the events and expressing their feelings. The son, while saddened by the potential departure of the twins, began to understand the importance of empathy, kindness, and human connection. The dad reflected on the transient nature of life's interactions, realizing that sometimes the most meaningful relationships were those formed unexpectedly and temporarily, yet leaving lasting impressions. Evening arrived, and the dad prepared a modest dinner, a final shared meal before the twins' transition. Conversation flowed gently, filled with reminiscence, laughter, and small expressions of gratitude. The twins spoke of their favorite moments, the simple joys and the sense of comfort they had experienced in the apartment. The dad listened, offering encouragement and expressing pride in their resilience and character. There was a quiet poignancy to the evening, a recognition that change was imminent, but also an appreciation for the connection that had developed. Later, as the twins prepared for bed, the dad noticed subtle gestures that revealed the depth of their affection and trust. They left small notes of thanks, quietly arranged their belongings, and expressed hope for future connections. Their actions reflected maturity beyond their years, a blend of innocence and understanding shaped by their unique life experiences. The dad felt a mixture of pride, sadness, and hope. He had played a crucial role in their lives, even briefly, and the impact of these interactions would resonate with him for years to come. During the night, the dad stayed awake, reflecting on the events and the lessons learned. The twins' presence had brought warmth, perspective, and insight into his life. Their mysterious background, now partially revealed, highlighted the contrast between wealth and simplicity, but also emphasized that genuine human connection transcended material circumstances. He thought about the importance of empathy, trust, and care, recognizing that these qualities could create lasting bonds regardless of social or economic differences. The following morning, the twins were ready to leave. The father returned briefly, To ensure their transition was smooth, and to express his appreciation for the dad's role in their lives, the dad guided the twins to the door, offering final words of encouragement and reassurance. He reminded them that they were always welcome, and that the care and kindness they had experienced in his home would remain with them. The twins smiled, a mix of gratitude and emotion in their eyes, acknowledging the depth of connection that had formed. As they departed, the dad and his son watched from the doorway, feeling a quiet ache but also a sense of fulfillment. The twins' journey was continuing, now intertwined with safety, wealth, and family. Yet the memories of their brief stay in the modest apartment would remain vivid. The dad realized that his role, though temporary, had left an enduring impact, shaping not only the twins' experiences but also his own understanding of compassion, connection, and the meaning of family. In the days that followed, the apartment felt quiet and still. The absence of the twins was palpable, yet the warmth they brought lingered in small ways. The neatness of the space they had left, the faint scent of their presence, and the emotional resonance that remained in the hearts of the dad and his son. He reflected on the profound lessons learned, that human connection, trust, and kindness could create lasting impact, even in the briefest of encounters. The dad and his son continued their daily routines, enriched by the experience. They shared stories of the twins, laughed at small memories, and reflected on the importance of empathy and care. The dad recognized that while material struggles would continue, the intangible rewards of kindness, compassion, and emotional connection were immeasurable. He felt gratitude for the opportunity to have impacted the lives of the twins, knowing that their time together had created bonds and memories that would last a lifetime. Through the quiet reflections, the dad also considered the broader lessons of life. He realized that circumstances, wealth, and status were secondary to the strength of human relationships. The twins' arrival, brief and unexpected, had illuminated the power of care, trust, and shared experiences. He understood that even small acts of kindness offered without expectation could ripple through lives, creating profound emotional resonance and shaping perspectives for years to come. As evening fell, the dad and his son sat together, the apartment bathed in a soft, warm glow. They spoke quietly about the past days, sharing insights and feelings. The son expressed understanding of the importance of empathy, trust, and emotional connection. The dad felt pride and contentment, knowing that the lessons imparted by the twins' presence would remain embedded in their hearts. Though the twins were no longer physically present, the impact of their time together was enduring, leaving a lasting imprint on both father and son. The night concluded with quiet reflection and a sense of hope. The dad understood that life's most meaningful experiences often arrived unexpectedly, and that the ability to open one's heart could create profound connections. The twins' presence, though temporary, had transformed the apartment into a place of warmth, learning, and emotional growth. Their departure marked not an ending, but a continuation of the lessons learned, the bonds formed, and the appreciation of human kindness and connection that would guide both father and son in the days and years ahead.